when we recognize this, we come into that state of flow where we are love within a field of love, which is our natural identity. It's our natural environment. And this is the atmosphere in which we live, breathe, come to Sunday services, do our 9-to-5s if that's our world, or enjoy the sunrise and the sunset and every moment in between, if that's our world. Whatever our world is, the sustenance that we receive is the atmosphere of love, which is God, which is what carries us in the flow of things. So really, we are flowing in a current of love. And when we flow in the current of love, we become the currency of love. Now, when we become the currency of love, what this is like spiritual coin. It is that we are the wherewithal of God. We are what God uses to make itself known on this planet, in this town, not only in this room, but throughout, reverberating around all of these mountains around us, down the deep canyon, all of it. So flow, in a sense, then, is movement. Yes? Flow is movement. Movement indicates change. So if flow is movement, movement is change, I would posit that love is change. Love in action is change. So what is it about change that confuses us or that scares us? What is it that we rail against, whether quietly in the sanctity of our soul, or whether loudly protesting in the streets? What is it about this very natural occurrence, which is flow, which is life, which is movement, which is change? What is it about that? What are the dynamics within this concept? And if we can understand these concepts, the dynamics of the concept, what is it that, how can this assist us in managing and actually navigating through them? This community is in the process of change. And take a moment, right now, take a moment to feel into your heart where you are in the change of your community. And allow yourself to feel the fullness of your feelings. Be with all of that honoring. Because as humans, our feelings and emotions are prime indicators of where we stand. Right? So let's just use the road for an analogy. We're driving on the road, smooth. Wind in your hair if it's a convertible. Sun on your face, sunglasses. Whatever is your smooth road. And the landscape around you, the topography, all of it, spectacular. Loving it. So you kind of put the cruise control on, right? It's lovely and hypnotizing in a way that takes away the quickness with which life can change. Our attention gets a little bit duller because we're a little bit more comfortable. And so we continue on our smooth road. But then all of a sudden, it doesn't feel so smooth anymore. Potholes appear, the shoulder kind of gets a little gravelly, bumpiness. So what is this bumpiness? What are these potholes? Everything was going smoothly. We know where our destination is because we've been on this road, and we know where this road leads. Well, I would say that these potholes, these bumps, they're actually signals to pay attention. That something is amiss. That something is calling us that's different than the smooth road. And every other road that we look at seems unknowable, unapproachable, or downright frightening. So what do? Well, we can continue on the road, continue on the bumps, continue on the potholes. But then we come to a place where it just gets too uncomfortable. It just is wrong. We know that this road is not leading us where we want to be. And so what we do is we decide finally to break the inertia and move and take another road. And so we do. And so the road begins to open up before us and become as smooth as the road that we were on. But it's a different road. And if we've learned anything from the road we were on, it is to maintain our mindfulness on this new road. So that as we move on the new road mindfully, we're aware of subtle changes to avoid the possibilities of potholes. There's still going to be a few bumps here and there. But we have come from a place of just simply mindlessly cruising to mindfully moving. And now, we're present in this moment, and there still may be friction. So what is the friction? The friction, of course, is our resistance. So our friction, as it is resistance, we begin to realize is a normal part of change. That it is part of the process. And there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, there's nothing wrong with any of it. There's nothing wrong with our prior unwillingness to change our direction. There is nothing wrong with any of the choices we either made or we didn't make. It's just simply that we're present in this place right now. Now, one of the biggest issues with change is control. Right? Now, how many here have an issue with control? I mean, a few more hands go up here. Everybody's got God down. Everyone's got Father energy down. But control, huh? I know. Right? I mean, I could raise, if I could, I would raise 2 hands and 2 legs because truly, control is where it's at. Well, so Jodi Picoult, a great writer, in Change of Heart, she wrote, "You'll tell yourself anything you have to pretend that you're still the one in control." And how many of us tell ourselves stories? I mean, I've been telling a story about some road and who cares, right? But Viktor Frankl, great writer and philosopher and historian, wrote that when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Right? Ooh. Talk about friction and resistance. Gosh, I have to change? Really? I have to change so that this all changes? Yes. And a sacred yes it is. Because it is truly a privilege to be able to be so clear about God that you understand that going through any process, to come out refreshed and renewed, and again, more willing than ever to stumble and fall, knowing that your destination, the outcome, is assured. That to me is a blessed sacrament. It truly is. And Stephen Maraboli, who wrote Life, the Truth, and Being Free, he said that incredible change happens in your life when you decide to take control of what you do have power over instead of craving control over what you don't. Yeah. Right? The old serenity prayer. Right?
Yeah.
You know, Lord, grant me the serenity, or the courage to change the things I can, the serenity.
Yeah.
I can't even remember it, but I know the meaning of it. And isn't that what's important? Not that we know the words, not that we can quote and impress with our knowledge, but rather to be within and understand the idea under those words. The serenity to accept those things that I cannot change. And the wisdom to know the difference. Right? Wisdom. I'm sorry?
And the ability to let go.
The ability to let go. You guys are already at the end of this message. You guys, you're probably thinking like, gosh, why don't you tell me something I don't know? Because ultimately that's the truth. I am not telling you anything. I'm not speaking anything that you do not already know in your heart. I'm simply here as a messenger, a reminder. I'm simply here to share. To share the energy of this room, the energy of this community. To contribute some of who I am to the fullness of who you are. And so we will, all of us, become more enriched, more alive, more aware. So, how to navigate change? Pay attention to our feelings. Right? To honor them, but to not become overwhelmed with them. To be willing to admit when something isn't working. And to be willing to change course. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. Really. And while we're in the process of change, be kind to ourselves. Be kind with one another. Recognize that the experiences you have with change, those of us that are comfortable and easy going with change, and those of us who find it extremely difficult. Recognize that there's a continuum and each of us is on a different place on that continuum all the time. So be kind to each other. Be kind to one another during times of change, when the stress is greatest. You know, Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, he spoke that, this is a very simple philosophy. But it's a very hard philosophy. And isn't that the truth? And where is it hard? It's because at those times when we most not want to be kind is when we're required to be kind. Those moments when change is all about us and we so resist it. Those are the moments when we put the rubber to the road and we become pliant by opening up our hearts to change. So being kind with ourselves, being gentle with ourselves, being understanding with ourselves, and then translating all of that internal nurturing and bringing it, radiating it out into our communities. The community of this church, the community of Apple Valley, the community of Southern California, the community of California, the community of the United States, the community of America, the community of the world, the community of our solar system, community of the universe that we know and that we do not know. Radiating that kindness.